Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very, very much for coming tonight. This is the 10th anniversary of us celebrating Frederick Douglass speeches and the Andrew Turner Art Competition. I would like to say thank you so from the bottom of my heart for all of the families who are here, all of the teachers, all of the people from the community, because you have been faithful in supporting our young people's skills in these areas. This is part of having an education, and we really, really support this with all of our hearts in the school district, and we're so grateful for your being here tonight. Having said that, I would like to introduce you to the principal here, Mr. Ronald Brown. He will give you words of welcome, and then we will hear from Ms. Dana Bowser, who is the MC for the evening. Again, thank you so very much for coming.
Friends, family, staff, students, and distinguished guests, welcome to STEM Academy to our 10th annual Oratorical Contest and Art Competition. First and foremost, without further ado, let's give Ms. Arnold a round of applause for putting this together. It takes a lot of work to make this happen, and she's been dedicated and committed to making sure that you have an enjoyable evening and that our students showcase their talent. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming and supporting our students. First and foremost, I want to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Latrice Mumine, and our Board President, Ms. Johnson. Come on, right here.
Good evening, everybody. All right, I know they get y'all chicken wings today, so some of y'all might be a little tired. So the good thing is that you have all this space to stand up and cheer for our young people. So do that. If you get a little itis, it's okay. Just stand up and clap and you'll blend right in because our young people are fabulous. I'm looking forward to hearing these speeches, showing off their skills and their talents. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Sit back and enjoy it. Keep your hands warm for all the claps that we will be doing tonight.
Good evening. On behalf of the Chester Upland School District, it is my honor to welcome our students, families, staff, and community partners to the Frederick Douglass Oratorical Contest and Andrew Turner Art Competition. Today, we celebrate more than public speaking. We celebrate voice, courage, and the power of ideas. Frederick Douglass understood that words can challenge injustice, inspire change, and open doors. Our students carry that same potential. To our participants, this stage is yours. Speak with confidence, speak with purpose, and know that your voice matters. You represent the brilliance, resilience, and promise of our district. To our families and educators, thank you for nurturing and supporting these young scholars. Your encouragement makes moments like this possible. Let's listen, learn, and be inspired. Thank you.
So the moment you all been waiting for, to introduce our MC, Ms. Dana Bowser, Director of Student Engagement and Success. Ms. Dana Bowser.
So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you in English and in Espanol. Welcome, bienvenidos. Thank you for coming. Gracias por venir. We are so excited to hear all of these amazing students and the work that they've been doing. But first of all, how was that dinner? Did you like it? Clap it up for the dinner. So what we are going to do now is I'm going to talk a little bit about how the evening is going to flow. So we are going to go through some things, including all of the different categories. We're gonna have some music selections. We're gonna announce the art winners. We're gonna bring up all the different categories. We're gonna give out awards, and there's gonna be some more musical selections, and it's just gonna be a great night of everything. So I'm so excited about that. So now I would like to introduce to you the hostesses in their lovely costumes, and hopefully they're ready to come in. All right. So as Harriet Tubman, we have Anae Rawls. Come on in. Let's give it up. And as a child, we have Kalani Vicks. As Sojourner Truth, as the adult, we have Deasia. And as a child, we have Kyla Vicks. As Abraham Lincoln, the adult, we have Daniel Catararo. All right, looking good there. I love the beard. And as Frederick Douglass, as the adult, we have Traquan Octor. And as a child, we have Kasai Barksdale. Let's give our hosts and hostesses a round warm of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I would also like to take a moment to introduce our judges for the evening. So we have Mr. Justin Tibbles. And we have our very own board president, Amanda Johnson, who does so many different things. And behind the scenes, as we wouldn't be able to do this without her, we have Miss Stephanie Scappa. And so, let's let the night begin. And we're going to start off with a music selection with Lift Every Voice. If they're ready.
Hey, watch the chord.
Let's give these students some encouragement and a round of applause and hear this beautiful musical selection. Mr. Mincy and the Toby Farms Choir. You want to use this one? Yeah, as long as we get it back. Great job, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, was that amazing? Let's give them another round of applause. One thing I always say is the talent in Chester is undeniable. We need a recording contract for our youth. Come on now. Before we move on, I want to take a moment to just thank all of the community that came out. If there are any people, any city officials in the building, our staff, our administrative staff, again, our superintendent, the principal, all the judges, if it wasn't for all of you, our students would not be who they are today. So give yourselves a round of applause. Alrighty, so as you all know, if you look to this side of me, you see all of this wonderful artwork from the art contest. And so what I'm going to do right now, and I don't know if we have any of our winners here that would like to stand up when I call their names, is I'm going to announce the winners of the art contest. So, ladies and gentlemen, in Division 1, in 3rd place from Main Street, we have Perla Gill. In 2nd place from Stetzer, Cameron McIntyre. And in 3rd place from Main Street, we had Missouri Bowman. In Division 2, in 1st place, we had 5th grade Araceli Sanchez from Stetzer. If you are here, you can go over and stand by your artwork so that we can admire it. In 2nd place in Division 2, we have Leeway Ann Alvarado from 5th grade from Main Street. And in 3rd place in Division 2, Destiny Jackson, 4th grader from Main Street. In Division 3, in 1st place from Toby Farms in 7th grade, we had Lourdes Hughes. In 2nd place, 7th grade Toby Farms, Cynthia Hauser. And in 3rd place, again, we have a double winner, Miss Lourdes Hughes from Toby Farms. And finally, in Division 4, 1st place from STEM Academy, 10th grade, Amira Fletcher. 2nd place, 11th grader from STEM, Boggy Shah. And in 3rd place, 10th grader from STEM Academy, Aaliyah Tate. Let's give all of our art contestants a big round of applause. Alrighty, the moment we've all been waiting for. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to share something with you. We have some students that may have joined later. So if there's anybody that I'm missing, when I call your category, please come up to the stage. If I don't have your name, you can tell me what your name is and I'll announce it. The other thing is I will try my best to pronounce your names the best of my ability. I will not be offended if you stand up and correct me. Please do that because I want our students to be heard for who they are, okay? So we're gonna start off with Division 1, which is our brave and beautiful kindergarten students. Let's give them a round of applause. So if we have our kindergarten students, you can come on up to the stage. A lot to be able to get up on the stage and do this in front of all these people. I'm so proud of her. So our contestant from kindergarten here is, and I hope I say this right, Ohana? Okay, I did it right. Yay. Ohana in kindergarten from Main give her a round of applause.
My name is Ohana Dorsey Royals. I am in Miss Bradley kindergarten class at Main Street Elementary. Banish the idea that one class must rule over another and your republic will stand forever. Frederick Douglass.
Ladies and gentlemen, if she can do it, we can all do it. Let's give her a round of applause. At this time, are there any other kindergarten students that are going to be participating? If not, we will give Ohana her ribbon. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to ask for the students to listen for clear directions here. At this time, I would like for all first, second, and third grade students that are participating to please come to the stage, and then I'm going to call you up. First, second, and third graders, please come to the stage. And you guys can take a seat until I call your name, okay? If I call your name and you're not here, it's okay. And if I don't call your name and you're up there, then you can tell me that you've been added. In no particular order. And before they start, let's give them another round of applause. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, up first, like I said, in no particular order, just the order that's on the sheet. We have Mr. Umar Abdul-Sabur, second grade, Main Street.
Good evening. My name is Umar Abdul-Sabur. I am in the second grade at Main Street Elementary. I bring to you this evening an excerpt from Frederick Douglass' speech, The Race Problem, delivered on October 21st, 1890. The true problem is not the Negro, but the nation. Not the law-abiding blacks of the South, but the white men of that section who by fraud, violence, and persecution are breaking the law, trampling on the Constitution, corrupting the ballot box, and defeating the ends of justice. The true problem is whether these white ruffians shall be allowed by the nations to go on in their lawless and nefarious career, dishonoring the government and making its very name a mockery. It is whether this nation has in itself sufficient moral stamina to maintain its own honor and integrity by vindicating its own constitution and fulfilling its own pledges, or whether it has already touched that dry rot of moral depravity by which nations decline and fall and governments fade and vanish. The United States government made the Negro a citizen. Will it protect him as a citizen? This is the problem. It made him a soldier. Will it protect it? It made him a soldier. Will it honor him as a patriot? This is the problem. It made him a voter. Will it defend his right to vote? This is the problem. Thank you.
Give it up for Omar, everybody! Great job, Omar. Amazing. Next up from Main Street in third grade, we have Tiana Jones.
Good evening. My name is Tiana Jones. I am in the 3rd grade at Main Street Elementary. I present for you this evening an excerpt from The Race Problem, a speech delivered by Frederick Douglass on October 21st, 1890. The whole history of the legislation of the South, by the South, I mean the ruling class of the South, is on the side of ignorance. Their laws have made it a crime to enlighten the black man's ignorance. It has been the policy of the ruling class there to oppose education, not only for the blacks, but for the poor whites as well. But as I have said, this cry is raised not to help to educate the Negro, but as an excuse from taking him from suffrage, by which he can in some measure promote his own education and the education of those about him. But admitting what I do not admit, that the ignorance of the Negro is recognized by the South as a source of danger, and admitting the sincerity of the Southern men who are professing to deplore it. I have to say to them, if you could stand the Negro when he was a slave, you could stand it now that he is free, at least a reasonable length of time of his education. Clearly enough, the remedy is not in the abridgment of his rights, but in the education of his mind. It is not evading the pain provisions of the Constitution, but in teaching him the duties imposed by the Constitution. It is not in taking away his vote, but in teaching him how to use it. Thank you.
All right, Tiana. Great job. Let's keep the momentum going. Next up from 3rd grade Main Street, we have Mason Dale.
Good evening. My name is Mason Dale. I am in the 3rd grade at Main Street Elementary. I present this evening an excerpt from Frederick Douglass' speech, Hypocrisy of American Slavery, 1852. Am I to argue that it is wrong to make men brutes, to rob them of their liberty, to work them without wages, to keep them ignorant to their relations to their fellow men, to beat them with sticks, to flay their flesh with the lash, to load their limbs with irons, to hunt them with dogs, to starve them into obedience and submissions to their masters? Must I argue that a system thus marked with blood and stained with pollution is wrong? No, I will not. I have better employment for my strength and time such arguments would imply. There is not a man beneath the canopy of heaven that does not know slavery is wrong for him. Thank you.
Give it up for Mason. All right. Are they doing a great job, ladies and gentlemen? Okay now coming to the stage, 3rd grade Main Street, Sakina Abdul-Sabor.
Good evening, judges, administrators, and audience members. My name is Sakina Abdul-Sabor, and I present to you this evening an excerpt from the Frederick Douglass speech, A Friendly Word to Maryland, 1864. The grand mistake of the past has been the treatment to colored men as exceptions. Principles of law and justice readily applied to other men have been held to be inapplicable to them. Liberty held to be the natural condition to other men has been denied to the blacks, or considered a doubtful experiment. The elected franchise enjoyed by all other classes, native and naturalized, has been withheld from men of color. So also, with the right to hold office and sit on juries. The time has arrived that this principle of be abandoned by the state of Maryland, especially in respect of the elected franchise. If the Negro knows enough to pay taxes, he knows enough to vote. If the Negro knows enough to form an opinion respecting the claims of rival candidates and parties, and knows good from evil, as all you laws concerning his conduct imply, he knows enough to vote. If he knows an honest man from a thief, he knows enough to vote. If he knows enough to commit crime and to be hanged or imprisoned, he knows enough to vote. If he knows enough to fight for his country when assailed by invasion from abroad or rebellion at home, he knows enough to vote. Speak not of his ignorance, degradation, or servility. He is a man, and he knows as much when sober as an Irishman knows when drunk. He knows enough to vote on a long-established American usage. If voting is a natural right, you violate a natural right in withholding this right from the people born among you. If voting is only a conventional right, you do us a conventional wrong in withholding it. Thank you.
All right, Sakina, great job. Amazing, amazing. These students continue to amaze us all. Next up, in 3rd grade, Main Street, we have Damari Whitaker. Let's go, Damari.
Good evening. My name is Damari Whitaker. I am a 3rd grade student at Main Street Elementary. I present an excerpt from the Frederick Douglass speech, the Dred Scott decision, May 1857. It may be said that it is quite true that the Constitution was designed to secure the blessings of liberty and justice to the people who made it, and to the posterity of the people who made it, but was never designed to do any such thing for the colored people of African descent. This is Judge Taney's argument, and it is Mr. Garrison's argument, but it is not the argument of the Constitution. The Constitution knows all human inhabitants of this country as the people, which makes, as I have said before, no discrimination in favor of or against any class of people, but is fitted to protect and preserve the rights of all, without reference to color, size, or any physical peculiarities. Besides, it has been shown by William Goodell and others that in the 11 out of the all 13 states, colored men were legal voters at the time of the adoption of the Constitution. In conclusion, let me say, all I ask of the American people is that they live up to the Constitution, adopt its principles, imbibe its spirit, and enforce its provisions. When this is done, the wounds of my bleeding people will be healed. The chain will no longer rust on their ankles. Their backs will no longer be torn by the bloody lash of liberty. The glorious birthright of our common humanity will be the inheritance of all the inhabitants of this highly favored country. Thank you.
Wow! Damari, that was powerful. Good job, man. All righty. Next up, in 3rd grade from Main Street, we have India Davis.
Greetings and salutations. My name is India Davis. I am in the 3rd grade in Mrs. Sierra class at Main Street Elementary. I present you an excerpt from What to the Slave is the 4th of July by Frederick Douglass. Fellow citizens, pardon me and allow me to ask, why am I called here to speak today? What have I or those I represent to do with
us? Am I therefore called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude to the blessings resulting from your independence to us? Will it be to God, both for your sakes and ours, that an affirmative answer could be truthfully returned to these questions? Then will my task be light and my burden easy and delightful? But such is not the state of the case. I say it with a sad sense of disparity between us. Thank you.
Good job, India. All right, are there any more students in 1st through 3rd grade? Did I get everybody? Thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our students in Division 1 a round of applause, and they can go back to their seats in the audience now. Now we are going to bring up Division 2. Division 2 is going to be grades 4, 5, and 6. Grades 4, 5, and 6, please report to the stage. Let's give Division 2 a round of applause for coming on up here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on to Division 2, which is our 4th through 6th graders. Our first up is Araceli Sanchez, 5th grader from Stetzer.
Hello, I'm Araceli Sanchez from Stetzer Elementary School. Freedom will not come today, this year, nor ever, through compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and own the land. I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course, tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed planted in a great need. I live here too. I want my freedom just as you.
Good job. All righty, moving right along. From Main Street, 5th grade, we have Messiah Garcia.
Good evening, administrators, teachers, parents, students, and guests. My name is Messiah Garcia, and I'm a 5th grade student at Main Street Elementary School. This evening, I will be reciting an excerpt from Frederick Douglass's speech, Sources of Danger to the Republic, an address delivered in St. Louis, Missouri on February 7, 1867. Ladies and gentlemen, I know of no greater misfortunes to individuals than an overconfidence in their own perfections. And I know of fewer misfortunes that can happen to a nation greater than an overconfidence in the perfection of its government. It is common on great occasions to hear men speak of our Republican form of government as a model of surpassing excellence, the best government on earth, a masterpiece in statesmanship, and destined at some period, not very remote, to supersede all other forms of government among men. And when our patriotic orators appear in some degree recondite as well as patriotic, they treat us to masterly discussions upon what they are pleased to term the admirable mechanism of our Constitution. They discourse wisely of its checks and balances and the judicious distribution of the various powers. I am certainly not here this evening rudely to call into question these very pleasing assumptions of governmental superiority. On our part, they are perfectly natural. They are consistent with our natural self-love and our national pride. And when they are not employed, as they too often are, in the bad service of a blind, unreasoning, stubborn conservatism to shelter old-time abuses and discourage manly criticism and to defeat needed measures of amendment. They are comparatively harmless. Though we may not always be able to assent to the good taste in which they are urged, it is well enough, however, once in a while, to remind Americans that they are not alone in this species of self-laudation. That in fact, there are many men, reputed wise and good men, living on other parts of the planet, under other forms of government, aristocratic, oligarchic, and monarchical, who are just as confident in the good qualities of their government as we are of our own. It is true also that many good men at home and abroad, and especially abroad, looking upon our Republican experiment from afar in the cool, calm light of their philosophy, have already discovered, or think that they have discovered, a decline or decay and the certain downfall of our Republican institutions, and the speedy substitution of some other form of government for our democratic institutions. Thank you.
Messiah, that was amazing, and it was long. You really have to work on this to get that. Good job. And coming up next with the continuation is Jamaica Benjamin, 5th grade, Main Street.
Good evening, administrators, teachers, parents, students, and guests. My name is Jamaica Benjamin, and I am a 5th grade student at Main Street Elementary School. This evening, I will be reciting an excerpt from Frederick Douglass's speech, Sources of Danger to the Republic, an address delivered in St. Louis, Missouri on February 7, 1867. Now, the first source of weakness to a Republican government is the one-man power. I rejoice that we are at last startled into a consciousness of the existence of this one-man power. If it was necessary for Jefferson Davis and his peculiar friends to resort to arms in order to show the danger of tolerating the slave power in our government, we are under great obligations to Andrew Johnson for disclosing to us the unwisdom of tolerating the one-man power in their government. And if now we shall be moved, as I hope we shall, to revise our Constitution so as to entirely free from the one-man power, to curtail or abridge that power and reduce it to a manageable point, his exit into occupancy of the presidential chair will not be a unmitigated calamity we have been accustomed to regarding. It will be a blessing in disguise, though pretty heavily disguised, for disguise it as we will. Mr. Johnson has sometimes overstepped this power in certain conditions of his mind, which are quite frequent in mistaking himself for the United States instead of the President of the United States. The fault is not entirely due to his marvelous vanity, but to the Constitution under which he lives. It is there in that Constitution. The fantastic tricks recently played before high heaven by that dignitary which he sandwiched between a hero of the land and of the sea and swinging around the circle from the Atlantic to the Mississippi, we must break down the mainspring of those tricks in the Constitution before we shall give it to them elsewhere. Thank you.
Give it up for Jamaica. All right, moving right along. Another 5th grader from Main Street. We have Lamila Gordy.
administrators, teachers, parents, students, and guests. My name is Lamarla Gordy, and I'm a 5th grade student at Main Street Elementary School. This evening, I will be reciting an excerpt from Frederick Douglass's speech, Sources of Danger to the Republic, an address delivered in St. Louis, Missouri on February 7th, 1867. Now, water elements that enter into this one-man power and swell it to the formidable measure at which we find it at this time. The first thing is the immense patronage of the President of the United States, the patronage of money, of honor, of place, and power. He is able to divide among his friends and among his satellites, attaching men to his person and to his political fortunes. $100 million per annum in time of peace, and unaccounted thousands of millions of dollars in time of war are virtually at his disposal. This is an influence which can neither be weighed, measured, nor otherwise estimated. The very thought of it is overwhelming. This amount of money, lost outside of the government and unfriendly hands, could be made a formidable lever for the destruction of the government. It is a direct assault upon the national virtue, while the President of the United States can exalt whom he will, cast down whom he will. He can place A into office for agreeing with him in opinion, and cause B to be put out of office because of her honest difference of opinion with him. Who does not see that the tendency to agreement will be a million times stronger than the tendency to differ, even though truth should be in favor of difference? From this power, this patronage has arisen the popular political maximum that to the victors belong the spoils, and the other vulgar expression of the same idea by Postmaster General Randall that no man shall eat the president's bread and butter. Who does not endorse the president's policy? The first thing that American is taught at the cradle side is never to fight against his bread and butter. Now I hold that this patronage should be abolished. That is to say, the president's control over it should be abolished. The Constitution evidently contemplated that the large arm of our government should control the matter of appointments. Thank you.
Great job, Lamarla. These young scholars are doing amazing work, and we're so proud of you. Next up, coming to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, we have another 5th grader from Main Street, London Willis.
Good evening, administrators, teachers, parents, students, and guests. My name is London Willis, and I'm a 5th grade student at Main Street Elementary School. This evening, I will be reciting an excerpt from Frederick Douglass's speech, Sources of Danger to the Republic, an address delivered from St. Louis, Missouri on February 7th, 1867. Another source of evil in the one-man power is the veto power. I am in favor of abolishing the veto power completely. It has no business in our Constitution. It is alien to every idea to a Republican government, borrowed from old world, from kingcraft and priestcraft, and all other adverse craft to a Republican government. It is anti-Republican, anti-democratic, and anti-common sense. It is based upon the idea, the absurdity, that one man is more than many men. That one man separate from the people by his exalted station. One man sitting apart from the people in his wrong. Surrounded by his friends, his cliques, his satellites will be left to bring to the consideration of public measures, a higher wisdom, a larger knowledge, or pure patriotism. Then with the representatives of the Republic in the face and in the presence of the multitude, with flaming swords of press waving over them, directly responsible to their constituents, immediately, in communication with the great heart of the people, that one man will be likely to govern more wisely than the majority of the people. that one man will bless to govern more wisely than majority of the people. It is borrowed from old world. It is alien to our institution. It is opposed to the very genius of free institution, and I want to see it struck out of our Constitution. I believe that two heads are better than one. I shall not stultify myself by saying one, even though it be the head of Andrew Johnson. It's almost more than 2/3 of the representatives of the American people. Is that republicanism? Is that democracy? Is that constant with the idea that the people shall rule? I think not. Thank you.
Great job, London. And last but not least, in Division 2, coming to the stage, give it up for 5th grade Main Street student Javante Gray.
Good evening, administrators, teachers, parents, students, and guests. My name is Javante Green, and I am a 5th grade student at Main Street Elementary School. This evening, I will be reciting an excerpt from Frederick Douglass's speech, Sources of Danger to the Republic, an address delivered in St. Louis, Missouri on February 7th, 1867. Another thing I would abolish, the pardoning power. I should take that right out of the hands of this one man. The argument against it is, in some respects, similar to that used against the veto power. Those against the veto power are equally persistent against the pardoning power. And there is a good reason why we should do away with the pardoning power in the hands of the president. That is that our government may at some time be in the hands of a bad man. When in the hands of a good man, it is all well enough. And we ought to have our government so shaped that even when in the hands of a bad man, we shall be safe. And we know that the people are usually well-intentioned. A certain percentage are thieves. A certain percentage are robbers, murderers, assassins, blind, insane, and idiots. But the great mass of men are well-intentioned, and we should watch the individual. Trust the masses always. That is good democracy. Is it not? Not modern, but old-fashioned. But my argument is this. A bad president, for instance, has the power to do what? What can he not do? If he wanted to revolutionize this government, he could do it easily with the pawner's power. It would be an auxiliary power. He could cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war and say to the conspirators, I am with you. If you succeed, all is well. If you fail, I will interpose the shield of my pardon, and you are safe. If your property is taken away from you by Congress, I will pardon and restore your property. Go on and revolutionize the government. I will stand by you. The bad man will say, or might say this, I am not sure, but we have got a man now who comes very near saying it. Let us have done with this pardoning power. We have had enough of this. Pardoning. How inexpressibly base have been the uses made by this power. This beneficent power. It has been that with which a treacherous president has trafficked. He has made it the means of securing adherence to himself instead of securing allegiance to the government. Let us have done with this closet pardons obtained by bad men, pardons obtained by questionable women, pardons obtained in the most disgraceful and scandalous manner. Drive this pardoning power out of the government and put it in the legislative arm of the government in some way. Let the Committee of House of Representatives and send it to the United States. Let a committee of the House of Representatives and Senate of the United States determine who shall be the recipients of the clemency at the hands of the nation. Let it not come from an individual, but let it come from people. And outrage people who know to whom to extend this clemency. Thank you.
That was incredible. And we all know it is not easy to be up there, and these students are doing an amazing job, ladies and gentlemen. And that's it for Division 2. So let's clap it up as they come to return to their seats and move on to Division 3. Go ahead, guys. While they are exiting, we have Division 3 coming to the stage. Division 3 is going to be our 7th and 8th grade students. Please come on up to the stage, 7th and 8th graders. Make sure you have your cards with you. Let's give our 7th and 8th graders a round of applause. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I get these names right because I know we had a lot of changes. But first up, from Toby Farms, 7th grader Jasmine Talley.
Hello, esteemed audience, judges, administrators, and fellow orators. My name is Jasmina Towley, and I'm in 7th grade. I will present to you an excerpt from What the Black Man Wants by Frederick Douglass. I have had but one idea to present to the American people for the last 3 years. I am for the immediate, unconditional, and universal enfranchisement of the black man in every state in the Union. Without this, his liberty is a mockery. Without this, you might as well retain the old name of slavery for his condition. For in fact, if he is not a slave of the individual master, he is the slave of society and holds his liberty as a privilege, not as a right. It may be objected, however, that this pressing of the Negro's right to suffrage is premature. I do not agree with this. I fear that if we fail to do it now, we may not see, for centuries to come, the same disposition that exists at this very moment. It may be asked, why do you want it? We want it because it is a right, first of all. No class of men can, without insulting their own nature, be content with any deprivation of their rights. If the Negro knows enough to pay taxes to support the government, he knows enough to vote. Taxation and representation should go together. If he knows enough to shoulder a musket and fight for the flag, fight for the government, he knows enough to vote. If he knows as much as when he is sober as an Irishman knows when drunk, he knows enough to vote on good American principles. Thank you.
Great job, Jasmina. Coming up next to the stage is another Toby Farm 7th grader, Genesis Gomez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my name is Genesis Gomez, and today, the speech I'll be saying for Frederick Douglass is the present and the future on the colored race in America. All circumstances of the hour plead with an eloquence equaled by no human tongue. The immediate solution for this vital problem: 200,000 graves. A distracted and bleeding country plead for this solution. It cannot be denied. Nobody now even attempts to deny it. Nobody now even attempts to deny it. The question, what should be done with the Negro? The grand cause of the tremendous war now upon us and likely to continue upon us. Until the country united upon some wise policy concerning it. Thank you.
Great job, Genesis. And finally, last but not least, coming to the stage, we have an 8th grader from Toby Farms, Sharisha.
Good evening, esteemed audience. My name is Sharice Showell. I'm in the 8th grade and I attend Toby Farms Intermediate School. I present to you today an excerpt from Frederick Douglass's speech, What to the Slave is Your 4th of July, 1852. Fellow citizens, pardon me, allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I or those I represent to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I therefore called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude to the blessings resulting from your independence to us? Would to God, for both your sakes and ours, that an affirmative answer can be truthfully returned to answer these questions. Then, will my task be light and my burden easy and delightful? For who is there so cold that a nation's sympathy could not warm him? Who so obdurate and dead to the claims of gratitude that would not thankfully acknowledge such priceless benefits? Who so stolid and so selfish that would not give his voice to swell the hallelujahs of a nation's jubilee when the chains of servitude had been ripped from his limbs? I am not that man. Fellow citizens, above your nation, I hear the wails of millions who chains heavy and grievous yesterday are today rendered more intolerable by the jubilee shouts that reach them. If I do forget, if I do not thankfully acknowledge the bleeding children of sorrow this day, may my right hand lose her cunning and my tongue cleave the root of my mouth. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than any other day of the year, a day of the gross cruelty and injustice to which he is the constant victim. Thank you.
Wow! How impressive were they? Let's give it up for Division 3, our middle school students! All right, ladies and gentlemen, next up, we have a treat for you before we get into our high schoolers. We have our very own Toby Farm student, Lourdes Hughes, giving us a musical performance.
All of my life, thought I was right, looking for something new. Stuck in my way, like old-fashioned days, but all the roads led me to you. The house that you live in don't make it a home, but feeling lonely don't mean you're alone. People were lying, they will come and they'll leave, but if I had a choice, I know where I would be. Through the lows and the highs, I will stay by your side. There's no need for goodbyes. Now I'm seeing the light. When the sky turns to gray and there's nothing to say, at the end of the day, I choose you. Now I found the strength to make a change. And look at the magic I found. No matter the name or where you came from, there's no one as much figured out. The house that you live in don't make it a home, but feeling lonely don't mean you're alone. I finally found where I feel I belong, and I know you'll be there with wide open arms. Through the lows and the highs, I will stay by your side. There's no need for goodbyes. Now I'm seeing the light. When the sky turns to gray and there's nothing to say, at the end of the day, I choose you. I choose you. Through the lows and the highs, I will stay by your side. There's no need for goodbyes. Now I'm seeing the light. The lows and the highs, I will stay by your side. There's no need for goodbyes. Now I'm seeing the light. When the sky turns to gray and there's nothing to say, at the end of the day, I choose you. Oh, I choose you. Thank you so much.
Wow! When I say Chester's got talent, Chester's got talent, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Was that a treat or what? Oh my goodness. I got, as J-Lo would say, I got goosies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along to keep this night going. Now we are going to bring up Division 4, which is our 9th through 12th graders. So all of our 9th through 12th graders, please report to the stage, and let's give them a round of applause. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the Division 4 started. First up, a 10th grader from STEM, we have Aisha Khan.
I asked my parents why they came to America, and this is what they told me. They came for a better life, a better education, and above all, freedom. Yes, we have a constitution in Pakistan, and we follow a democratic process. However, if the people from my native country insist on following the democratic process that our constitution provides, there can be serious consequences. You may be harmed in one way or another, through losing your job, imprisonment, or even risking the life of your family members. Does any of this sound like America today? I'm sure most of you have heard what is going on in our country today on the news. The very life my parents escaped from Pakistan is becoming our reality here in the United States. It is becoming your reality. But the good news is that more and more citizens of America are taking a stand under the rule of law to save our democracy. For example, after the shooting of 37-year-old Alex Pretty, an American citizen, the residents of Minneapolis used the example of the civil rights movement to organize and peacefully protest the wrongs in their city. It brought national attention and led to a government investigation into what happened. They also put pressure on the authorities, calling for policy changes and causing officers to leave their community. I also give thanks and praise to the Buddhist monks who organized a walkthrough across the country for national healing, unity, and peace. Beginning in Texas, they started their walk to Washington, D.C. and arrived on February 10, 2026. The peaceful walk helped bring attention to injustice and inspired many people to join them. It increased pressure on the government and became a powerful symbol of peaceful resistance. Then, there is the example of the No Kings Rally. The No Kings Rallies are a developing movement where we, the people, are organizing in cities all across the country to safeguard our beloved democracy from an authoritarian administration with organized, nonviolent, insistent people power everywhere. On their website, you will find information about the movement and how you can join a rally in your area. The future of the United States is in your hands. Don't say you are just one, because one person has the power to bring change. Don't say you can't become involved, because people across our country are taking action in many ways. What are you going to do? Will you join a rally? Will you write your congressman? Will you make sure to vote in the next election? The choice is yours, but you must do something, because nothing is not an option. Remember, the eyes of the world are upon us. The impact of your actions is world-changing. May we all become one. In Arabic, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. In Hebrew, ويبرأ إلهيم اتحادم تزالمو تزالم إلهيم بارا أوتو زكار أنكفا بارا أوتم. In English, from one man he made all the nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth.
Aisha, wow! I felt that, ladies and gentlemen. Did you feel that? With such conviction and the originality of that work. Wow, we need that. We need student voice. We need to amplify how we're feeling as students, as people, as a country. So the next few students that we have, listen very carefully, because they may be coming from different viewpoints and different voices, like Abraham Lincoln, like Martin Luther King. So listen very carefully to what they have to say, okay? Next up, we're going to have a piece that was written by Edrell Johnson, but it's going to be read by Anae. So come on up and listen very carefully. Let's give them both a round of applause, the writer and the orator.
Good evening, everyone. 83 years ago, I stood on the blood-soaked ground a few miles north of here in your neighboring Gettysburg to address our nation. I grieved over our nation then, and I am grieving over our nation now. When I was president, differences drove the United States apart, resulting in wounding members from every part of our society, including families. You could say all was rooted in race, skin color, slaves, and the people who were considered less than. Although the Constitution says that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that all men are created equal, as I look at America today, I ask the question, do we the people still believe that this is true? After the war, during my administration, our nation slowly began to create additional laws to ensure that equity was extended to everyone. With the current administration, that progress has begun to slowly disappear. So ask again, are we living up to the words that we so proudly proclaim, or are we allowing division to once again define us? We do not have the change from slavery, but we do not see that another kind of change is preventing us from the pursuit of happiness, proper health care, affordable costs for food and housing, and the very serious threat of limiting us from voting. My fellow countrymen, these are not chains of iron, but chains of feelings, thoughts, memberships, and political parties. In 2026, America still has some unfinished business. A house divided against itself shall not stand, and a nation divided will not stand. I have heard about the modern-day abolitionists who are called influencers. To you, I say, speak to the mind of democracy in these 50 states to rise up in every home, rise up in every community, in every classroom, in every house of worship. Rise up in Congress. The eyes of the world are depending on you. Thank you.
Great job, Anae. Great speech, Adrell. Wonderful. Next up, from STEM Academy, 10th grade, we have Alondra Peralta. Give it up for Alondra.
11 immigrants died in the span of 3 months in the United States. The cause? For that, we must turn to the news. On January 28, 2026, the BBC front page headline read, "Federal agents involved in fatal shooting of Alex Petty in Minneapolis placed on leave." Alex Petty, a 37-year-old American, was shot multiple times and killed by 2 United States ICE agents and border protection officers in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Petty was filming the law enforcement agent with his phone. At one point, he stood between the agent and a woman who the agent had pushed to the ground. Petty and all those who had died through interaction with ICE were exercising that must-solemn right as an American. The pursuit of a better America, an American dream, a nation where freedom, equity, and equality coexist. In 1963, 62 years ago, I stood before the nation and shared my dreams. I dreamed that one day this nation will rise up, live out to the true meaning of its creed. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I had a dream that my 4 little children would one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. My dream is not just for American-born citizens, but for all who live in the nation. My vision is that anyone who wants and believes in the American dream can have it, regardless of the skin color, creed, or ethnicity. The promise of the American dream rests upon the rule of law. The rule of law means that no person and no government agency stands above the Constitution. When the government enforces its powers in ways that treat groups as less deserving of rights, the law ceases to be a shield for justice and becomes a weapon of oppression. When the enforcement policies, such as U.S. immigration agents, treat immigrants primarily as a threat rather than as human beings with rights and aspirations, our country is betraying that founding idea. History has shown us the power of one. One person can be agent of change. Individuals like Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, or Nelson Mandela. These figures may have at one time stood alone with their sentiments and beliefs. With their true power wasn't their ability to persuade people that change wasn't their horizon. They knew that there comes a time when we, the people, are called to birth the difference we want to see in our nations. I believe that change happens when people awaken the conscience of the nation. The American dream survives, not automatically, but when we as folks insist that the country lives up to its principle of liberty, equality, and justice. The struggle for justice is never finished. If the actions by this agency move away from dignity and fairness, we must demand change. Through the Constitution and peaceful activism, the country can correct their path. Only when the United States, the country where the American dream happens, treats every folk with justice and equality, can the American dreams remain real for all who seek freedom and opportunity. We now stand at a moment when the American dream is being put into question, and the government itself seeks to jeopardize the American dream. We must be like those great change agents and come together for the growth of our nation to continue. We must restore a rule of law that allows the American dream to again flourish in our minds. I am from the Dominican Republic, and I am Martin Luther King. Thank you.
Alondra! These students are incredible. What talent we have. Let's give them another round of applause. And last but not least, from 12th grade of STEM Academy, we have Aurelie Mesa Cortez. Let's give it up for Aurelie.
Well, friends, I hear so much talking about rights, talking about freedom, and talking about justice. But when you look closely, you can feel it slipping away. Because when people have to beg to be heard, when families are crying instead of celebrating, something is terribly wrong. They say women are equal now. They say we have come far enough. But when you look around, women are still being told what to do with their own bodies, still being judged, controlled, and silenced. The rights our mothers and grandmothers fought for with sweat, tears, and fears are being taken away by people who will never feel our pain. Day by day, piece by piece, the freedom we thought was secure is disappearing. And I ask you, ain't I a woman? I have worked. Women have always worked. We have laborers in home, in fields, in factories, and in offices. We have carried children and buried children. We have endured violence, poverty, and loss. And still, our suffering is dismissed. Still, our voices are ignored. We are told to be patient, while our lives are being decided without us. And I ask again, ain't I a woman? And what of the immigrants? The ones who wake up every morning afraid not of failure, but of disappearance. Afraid that today might be the day their family is torn apart. Parents taken away in the night. Children left crying at doors that will never open again. People who work harder than most, who give everything they have, yet are treated as if they are nothing. Their only crime is not being born on the right patch of land. What happened to due progress? Ain't they human? Ain't they worthy of mercy? Families are breaking. Children are growing up with empty chairs at the table. Mothers are praying, not for success or comfort, but simply for safety. Fathers are disappearing into systems that do not see their faces, only their labels. Hope is being replaced with fear. Love is being replaced with silence. We are watching history repeat itself. The same cruelty, the same excuse, the same lies that say some lives matter less than others. And it hurts because we were promised better. We were promised progress. We were promised that suffering like this would never happen again. But if one woman stood alone and cried out for justice, then we must cry out now. Because if we stay silent, the loss will grow. If we look away, the pain will deepen. And if we forget the past, we will keep breaking the future. Rights are not gifts to be taken back. Freedom is not something that expires. Equality is not something we earn by being quiet. Until women are truly free, until immigrants are safe, until families are no longer torn apart, this nation is still in chains. So I ask you, with all the pain and truth in my heart, ain't I a woman? Ain't we human? Ain't we deserving of more than this? Thank you.
Morale, great job. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Division 4, our high school students. Guys, you can take your seats now in the audience. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we are going to do during intermission is we have some musical selections coming up. 2 selections from Main Street as the judges are tabulating the scores. And then some announcements and the moments that you have been waiting for.
Do you ever make it out of your head? Do you still swim in your thoughts? Do you still mistake your flaws for property? Something that just don't sit right with you. But heaven knows, your wings can weigh you down. But angels make a way somehow. And if we
the singers of Main Street, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold me when you go to sleep. of me. Oh, and soon I will be there to the rising of evening, your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come run, yeah, to see you again. Don't you know that winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend. Ain't good to know that you got a friend. People can be so cold. They'll hurt you and desert you. Take your very soul if you let them. So don't let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come run, yeah, to see you again. Don't you know that winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend. You got a friend. You got a friend.
And next up, we have one more selection by Chobe's Choir. Let's come out. And then the moment you've been waiting for.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sand. Weight on my shoulder, a bullet in my head. In the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can for my people. As the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up.
realize how much money this will save.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up again for Main Street and Toby Farms. Now, can I have everybody's undivided attention before we get to the winners? I don't know how many of you saw how much talent we have here in Chester, but this is a public service announcement. If you want to see even more talent, and I'm sure some of you saw the flyers out there, on Tuesday, April 14th at Chester High School, we have one of the biggest talent shows in the district. It's called Chester's Got Talent. Tickets are $5. However, all of that money goes toward the Shining Star Arts Scholarship Fund, which on Senior Class Day is given to rising seniors that are pursuing the arts in college. It is going to be a night of piano playing, guitarists, models, steppers, drumline, singers, dancers, spoken words, everything. So please do not miss out on the opportunity to see what Chester has to offer. And let's give these students a round of applause in advance. If you look on our website or if you need a flyer, you can come see me, but everything is posted on our website and social media. And before we get to the winners, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give yourselves, the judges, our staff and administrators, and everyone who has helped, and especially the students, a big round of applause. All right, now, I need silence. Can I get a drum roll? All right, cut. In Division 1, ladies and gentlemen, Division 1, I'm gonna go from third to first, okay? In third place, in Division 1, we have Sakina Abdul-Shabour. Please come on stage and retrieve your prize, your trophy. And make sure you stay up there so we can get pictures also, okay? Congratulations, Sakina! In second place, in Division 1, Mason Dale! Congratulations, Mason! And in first place, in Division 1, we have Damari Whitaker. Ladies and gentlemen, they got trophies, but all of our students are winners. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, now I heard in kindergarten that little Miss Ohana did not get her ribbon. So can we bring her to the stage and give her her ribbon? Go, Ohana! Congratulations, Ohana! right, now, moving on to Division 2. In third place, ladies and gentlemen, we have Nasaya Garcia. Congratulations, Nasaya. Let's give her another round of applause. In second place, in Division 2, we have Lamila Gordy. Congratulations, Lamila. Again, all of our students are winners. We're so proud of all of you. And in Division 2, in first place, we have Javante Green to add to the trophy collection. Stay on the stage. We know you're excited. And everybody else in Division 2, congratulations. You did a phenomenal job. Let's give Division 1 and 2 a round of applause. And moving right along to Division 3, which was our middle school students. In third place, we have Miss Genesis Gomez. Congratulations, Genesis. But did you? No. In second place, in our middle school category, we have Miss Jasmina Telly. Way to go, Jasmina. And finally, in first place for middle school, Miss Cherie Shaw. Thank you, Division 3. Let's give our Division 3 winners a round of applause. Don't go anywhere because we want to make sure we get pictures. And finally, with these deep poems that touch my soul, and I hope they touch yours too, we have our high school students. In third place, in the high school category, we have Morelli Mesa Cortez. Congratulations, Frederick! In second place, we have Miss Alondra Peralta. Felicidades, Alondra. De nada. And last but not least, in first place with that beautiful speech, Miss Aisha Cobb. Way to go, Aisha. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a moment to thank you all for coming out to this amazing evening. This would not be possible without the help and the creation of the Oratorical contest. Let's give Miss Jean Arnold another round of applause. Let's thank our judges, our community members, our staff, and most importantly, our students. On behalf of the Chester Upper School District and the Office of our Superintendent, I want to thank all of you for coming out. I really hope you enjoyed tonight as much as I did, and we appreciate your support, and we hope to see you at future events. I'm Dana Bowser, and I thank you for being here, and please come and take as many photos as you want. Be safe getting home. Until next year, here for our 11th anniversary of the Frederick Douglass Oratorical Contest. Thank you and good night.